Unsolicited advice.
What you whispering for? Yo, what's unsolicited advice? Take it or leave it. About to add a class of 2026. Yeah. Yeah, we got a new batch of seniors this year. You know, people in high school, even middle school, you know, you kind of have to start early with certain things. But one of the things I've noticed about this generation and the younger kids as they start to graduate, a lot of them aren't ready for the world. You know, they have no type of real world skills or, you know, real world mentality where they say, okay, I'm not in high school no more. I need to start taking this more seriously, or I need to start thinking about this, or I need to prepare for that. You don't get that a lot. You know, you get a lot of, you know, shoulder shrugs and, you know, I just want to play my video games. You know, you ask them what they want to be. Oh, I want to be a content creator. I want to be a gamer. I want to do hair and nails. You know, I want to, you know, do OnlyFans. Like, you know, you look at them like, okay, I get that. But all that sounds like a side hustle. That doesn't sound like a career just yet. So, you know, especially if you're a parent, you end up arguing with your child because, for one, your child doesn't want you asking them any questions because they ain't thought nothing of it. And some of y'all might already have a child that's thinking about it. And that's a rarity. And that is a luxury for most parents to have a child that's thinking about that already. That's a beautiful thing. But you do have a lot of kids that don't want to think about it. They just want to be done with high school and they want to get out and they want to break. And a lot of them don't realize there is no break. You know, if you know, there is no break. You think that there is, but it isn't. Life hits you quick. And for some of these teenagers, a lot of their parents are just allowing them to live in their homes and, you know, just live off them until they figure it out. And that doesn't work, because all that does is that breeds laziness, that breeds dependency, you know, and that breeds like chaos. You know, it just makes it worse. You know, you're getting phone calls from your job that your child is, you know, wrecked the car, or, you know, you come home, the house is a mess. You know, they haven't looked for a job. They haven't, you know, you ask them if they're going to get their driver's license. They start panicking and having anxiety attacks because they don't want to drive. You know, you ask them, you know, are they ready to go get, you know, open up a bank account, and, you know, they need you to go with them. They don't know how to talk to people. They have no social skills. It's so much stuff. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. You know, we haven't even gotten into corporate America or trying to get a job or trying to go to college or anything like that. So, and I thought about this over the weekend. I started writing down some things that I feel like would help kids get started. And I started thinking, like, when is the best time to start? And me personally, I would probably say close to the end of your sophomore year going into your junior year. You don't want to wait till your senior year, because there's so much stuff going on your senior year, and there's so many emotions going on as well. You know, everything, you don't want everything to hit you at once. You want to start preparing early. So, you know, I made like what you would call a real world prep checklist. So this is, let's just say between your junior and senior year. So the first thing you want to do is you want to clarify your goals. Okay. So I made me a little list here. Okay. I'm gonna look at my list. Look at my little list here, because, you know, I don't know if I'll be able to say all this and remember it. So I'm gonna look at my little list here. So the first thing you want to do is clarify your goals. You know, you want to decide, do you want to go to college? Do you want to go to trade school? Meaning, do you, you know, be an auto mechanic, be a cosmetologist, be a barber, you know, get work with electricity, things like that. You know, or do you just want to work a regular job? Do you want to join the military, or is it something else? You know, think about your strengths, your interests, and a lifestyle you want in the next 5 to 10 years. Talk to trusted adults, people you trust, the adults that you trust. Talk to your counselors and talk to mentors if you have them. If you don't have a mentor, talk to somebody you really, really trust and you know is going to have their best, your best interest in mind. So number one, you want to clarify your goals. You want to clarify those goals. What do you want to do? Do you want to go to college? Do you want to go to a trade school? Do you want to go to military? Do you just want to work a 9 to 5? Or do you just want to do something else? Do you want to, think about your strengths, think about your interests, and think about the lifestyle you want to live. All this stuff you see ain't free. You got to pay for it. You got to pay for it. And like I said, talk to somebody you trust, whether it's your parents, some other adults, counselors, mentors. Do not sit here and just talk to your friends that are in high school because they haven't been through it just like you haven't been through it yet. Talk to people that's been through it that can give you solid advice. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to like it. You're not going to like what you hear, but it's what you're going to have to do. So it's going to, the main thing you're probably going to hear is that things are going to take time. You got to have patience. You got to have self-control. You have to have discipline. That's something you're going to keep hearing. You may get lucky, but for the most part, you're going to have to be patient. So the second prep is prep for college. Even if it's not your path, or even if you feel like it may not work out, prep for it. Visit colleges, either in person or virtually. Study for and take the SAT and ACT if required. I don't know what's required anymore, but I think those are still required. Start drafting your college essays. Get your family to help you. If you know somebody that's been to college, they can help you. They'll tell you. They'll know what you can put down. And for all you, Gen Zs and whatnot, and all you, tech aficionados, ChatGPT can help you. It can help you, put down your college essays if you ain't got nobody to talk to. Make sure you make a list of colleges and programs and track application deadlines. You got to track that because a lot of times you got to make sure you hit the deadline because, you don't want to wait till the last minute. A lot of kids will do that. They'll wait till the last minute because they want somebody to do it for them. Don't wait for somebody to do it for you. You do it. And like I said, if you're in your junior year, you need to start getting in good with teachers. Some of y'all are class clowns. Some of y'all might have even had like run-ins with certain teachers. Start getting in good with teachers because you're going to need to ask them for letters of recommendations early. Start doing good in your classes. Start making sure your grades are adding up. That your grades are looking good so they don't mind doing it. Because those teachers want to see you succeed and they want to see you put effort in early to get those letters of recommendations. They want to see you do that because it shows that you are doing your homework and and you're paying attention and that you really want to do something. So a lot of them aren't going to mind doing that at all. And if you don't get along with your teachers, you got counselors, you have other avenues you can go to. Number 3, even in your sophomore year, depending on how old you are, it's time to get a job or you need to do an internship. If you're going to go get you a job, get you a job. Don't sit here and worry about whether it's fun or not. You need to know what it's like to work. It doesn't need to be some cool and fun job. Now, if you do so happen to get a job that you like and love, great. But you're doing this because you need to learn early what it's like to work hard for money. You need to know what all of it is going to feel like. Because the worst thing in this world is for you to go through high school, never have a job, never had a job, and then you all of a sudden need one when you go to college. It's going to be a culture shock to you. You're not going to be prepared for it because if you don't clean up your own house, you're not going to be able to take orders from somebody that's telling you to clean up, a restaurant or take out the trash or clean up the dressing room or whatever, or you working at the movies and you got to, sweep up popcorn and just a bunch of nasty stuff out of the theaters. You need to go ahead and get you a job now. Right at the age you're allowed to have one, get one. And for some of y'all that let's just say you're a student athlete. You know, you can go work at the Boys and Girls Club over the summer. You know, I think they start off at, I think you have to be 13 or 14. You know, they'll give you a paycheck, you know, and you can work there. You know, YMCA, things like that, you know, where you can still, it's still a part of what you want to do and be, you know, certain colleges. And if you don't get a job, start trying to apply at it for an internship based on the career that you want. So over the summer, try to do your internship. And if you can do it during the school year, great. So let's say you're in band and you want to be a musician. Start trying to figure out if there's places around you or near a big city where you can intern and learn more about, you know, the music business, or learn stuff from other, you know, successful musicians. You know, if you want to, you know, if you're playing sports, you can intern somewhere. You know, maybe you can go intern at your local, for your local team in your town, or like I said, you can go to the big city and maybe work for your local football team or your local baseball team. You know, maybe you're just, you know, cleaning up, or maybe you're, you know, working in concessions. Anything to intern and learn what you love, you should do. The next one, number 4, is something near and dear to my heart because I talk about it all the time, and I wish they did this for kids more in high school. Right in 9th grade, they need to learn. As soon as they get in, learn the financial basics. Learn the financial basics. Learn how to open a checking, a savings account if you don't already have one. Don't just rely on your parents doing it for you. You go learn yourself. I've never seen so many young kids love money but don't know money's worth. They don't know how to use it. They don't know how to make it work for them. They don't understand any of the basic stuff. They just want the money. Learn to budget, track, so you can track your income and expenses. You know, don't spend all your money. You're gonna want to. There's so many things. You know, you're young. You want everything that you don't have. You know, everything you've been sitting there watching, saying, I want this, I want this outfit, I want these shoes, you know, I want this phone, you know, I want this computer, I want this car, whatever it is, jewelry, I want to get my hair done, you know, I want to go to this party, you know, I want to go out to eat with my friends. Learn to budget. Don't be in a rush. You got your whole life ahead of you. There's going to be times where you're going to want to do a lot of things, you know. The number one thing, though, appreciate your parents' cooking. If they're cooking for you, use that. Go ahead and eat. Don't waste your money on fast food all the time just because you want to hang out. If you just absolutely got to hang out with your friends, order something to drink or order a dessert, something cheap. That way you're saving your money, you know. You know, maybe order like a milkshake, or, you know, maybe like a little dessert or something. I don't know. Or maybe just, you know, a cheap appetizer, you know. People probably gonna say, oh, you know, you broke, or you a bum, or man, you cheat. Don't worry about that. Trust me, it'll work out in the long run. Another thing is learn to understand credit. Learn to understand loans. And with those, learn to understand the interest rates. You know, because you want to avoid debt. You don't want to be in debt with every little thing, because that's how they get you. There's so many things you can sign up for, especially, you know, if you've never had credit and you're trying to build. Oh God, it's just so many things, you know, like Klarna and Zip and Afterpay. Avoid that stuff if you're young. Avoid all that. That's how they get you. But the main thing to take out of all that is just learn to start saving while you're still living under your parents' roof and they're taking care of you. Save your money. You know, if they're making sure you eat every day and that you got cable and internet, you good. Trust me. You won't know how good you got it until you have to have your own stuff. So use that. Don't be in a rush to spend your money just because you got it. You know, I know it's gonna burn a hole in your pocket, but start saving early. That way, when it is time for you to graduate or it's time for you to find your own place, you've saved money, you know, to get you a brand new car, whatever. You know, you want to be your own boss. You want to be your own person. You don't want to have to rely on everybody else. Man, I love this. I love it. This is the stuff I live for. I would love to just mentor somebody. Not everybody likes to listen nowadays, though. Number 5 on my list, build life skills, okay? So life skills are essential. You know, before you go to college, before you go anywhere, learn life skills. Learn stuff first. You don't want to be naive to the world. You don't want to be somebody's sucker. You don't want to be a simp. You don't want to be a fool, because it can happen real quick. You can get robbed of your innocence very quick if you don't understand life skills. So learn how to do your own laundry. Learn how to cook your own meals, or just your basic meals at least, so you can survive. Not sandwiches and, you know, cereal, whatever, like actual hot cooked meals. You know, not just an air fryer, because you might not have money for one. You know, it's nice to have, but learn how to cook your basic meals in an oven or on a stove. Learn how to clean and maintain your space. Learn how to use public transportation. Don't be too cute. You never know when you're going to need that. So don't feel like you're too good to ride the bus or ride the MARTA or ride ride the train or whatever. Another thing you need to do is understand health insurance, understand prescriptions, and learn how to make your own appointments and stuff. Whether you're going to the doctor, whether you're going to the bank, anytime you have to make an appointment, learn what you need to do for that appointment. Number 6, learn to build a resume, you know, and use LinkedIn too. The LinkedIn app, use that too. You know, it's optional, but it's a strong move, because you want to go ahead and start building things on there so people can just go straight to that and get everything that they need. But learn how to build a resume. There's apps that'll build a resume for you, but get with your parents or get with somebody, you know, that works a job, or somebody that's a manager or a boss. Get with them. They will show you what people are looking for on a resume, and they'll show you how to keep it short and sweet. And then pretty much a resume just puts all the facts that a person needs, okay? All the facts that a person needs. So you just have to put everything on that sheet, make sure it's got all your information on it, but you want to make it short and sweet. So, you know, when you're building a resume, you want to include any jobs that you had, any time that you volunteered, in any type of leadership roles, even if you were the captain of your football or basketball team or whatever, softball or whatever. You know, you want to make sure you put those things on there. Anything that will make you stand out while they're reading. Now, if you're going to start a LinkedIn profile, you're doing this because you want to learn how to network, how to get with other people. This is how you cut out the middleman. So, you know, you never know. You might find somebody that's in the career field that's already doing the career you want to do, and they're willing to help you and be your mentor and navigate you through the water so you can get to where they're at. So that's what you use LinkedIn for, to network with somebody. You know, whether it's business, tech, creative industry, healthcare, I think it's all on there. They gave a little bit of everything's on there. So, number 7, and I wish I didn't even have to talk about this because y'all are young. Y'all are young. Shouldn't really even have to go through this, but we all go through it a little bit. But it's way more deeper now. But learn how to take care of your mental health while you're in high school. The reason why I say that is because once you graduate, be honest, there's no love. There is no love. You know, there's going to be less and less people. All those people you went to high school with, they're all on a different journey than you. You may see them down the road here and there, but for the most part, they're on their own journey as well. So less and less people will be out of your life. You won't have as many people there for you emotionally. You're going to have to learn to take care of your own mental health and not rely on others to pick you up when you're down. Sometimes you have to learn how to self-heal. So practice coping skills for stress and anxiety. Learn how to manage your time. Set boundaries and say no. There's nothing wrong with it. Start from the beginning. Don't wait till the last minute to say no. Okay? Mean what you say from the beginning. If you're not comfortable, learn to say no. If you don't want to do something, learn to say no. Be all right. If you struggle mentally or emotionally, seek help before things get worse. And they will get bad. But you need to say something from the beginning. Okay? You never know it may save your life. Say something. Don't be ashamed. Don't be worried about what people think. Because that's part of mental health, is dealing with something that you're afraid of. Number 8, talk with adults who've been through it before. I know a lot of y'all roll your eyes when your parents try to tell you stuff, or your relatives try to tell you things, or maybe some older cats around your neighborhood try to, tell you stuff. You roll your eyes, I don't want to talk about that, or I don't want to talk about this. Sometimes it's best to listen. That's the best advice you'll get, because they've been through it already, especially your parents, because your parents love you and care for you. So you definitely want to listen to what they have to say, So treat it like an interview. Interview them. Ask them questions, especially about the career that you're interested in. If you know somebody that's done it before, go talk to them. Let's say you're interested in the military. You probably find somebody in your family or somebody around you that was in the military. Talk to them, Your mom's a nurse and you want to do what she does, talk to her about nursing. Ask her everything that you need to know to get started. Your dad started a business, and you've seen him be successful, but you want to be your own man. Talk to him. He will show you all the mistakes he made so you don't make them. Ask family members. Just ask them, what they wish they knew when they was your age. And they will give you some jewels and gems. Build a small network of mentors. There's nothing wrong with having older people on your team. It's not always about your friends. Sometimes you need older people for good reasons, not for the bad ones. Don't have no R. Kellys or whatever on your teams. Have people with the right intentions, older people with the right intentions on your team, and build a small network of those mentors. So you always have somebody to go to, because you can't always go to your friends or your peers, because they're trying to grow up just like you. They're trying to be an adult just like you, and they don't have all the answers. But your mentors will. So this next part, and I want y'all to listen clear, because I know that college is not for everybody. It's just not, especially nowadays. There's so many other avenues or ways around things. So learn about alternatives to college, or other things you can do besides college. So I talked earlier about a trade school. So you can go to school, sometimes it's 6 to 9 months, and you can learn welding, plumbing, cosmetology, barbers, auto mechanics. Some of that stuff ain't glamorous, but it's good to have a trade or a side job or side hustle. I think you can go to culinary school, massage therapy. There's so many different things you can do. You can go to school for 9 months and learn how to code. You learn how to code, learn how to make apps. Also, another thing you can do is apprenticeships. So you can get paid while you learn. So if you can find places where they need a young apprentice and they pay you while you learn, that's great too. Do that early. That way you already know stuff before you get in. Military, that's another alternative if you don't want to go to college. You can get the GI Bill and you can learn structure. I was former military, so the one thing that I would tell you is ask somebody that's been in the military before you join, so you can get all the information you need, because the military ain't your babysitter. You'll learn that real quick. they're not going to teach you nothing. You better learn or you're just going to get rolled over. And the number one thing, and I think this is the biggest thing that goes on nowadays, and it's something that we have to learn to adjust to, is entrepreneurship. A lot of y'all want to be your own entrepreneurs. You know, you want to start your own business or do freelancing, or like what I'm doing right now, content creating is a big thing. You know, OnlyFans and stuff like that. And, you know, some people start up their own food trucks and LLCs. Some people do tax preparations. You know, if you're going to do your own entrepreneurship, you still going to have to be certified. Because if something goes wrong and you get sued and you don't have a certification in what you do, so there's really no way around it. You're going to have to learn some way, some form of fashion. So the college might not be for you, but you're going to have to learn another way to be certified. So now we've gotten to the hard part. And it took me a minute because I was trying to just do 10 things. So this is the hard part of this conversation, especially for a lot of kids, because a lot of them don't know what to do at this point. But in your junior year going into senior year, you should be preparing to move out eventually, if not as soon as you graduate. You know, even if you don't move right after your senior year, practice living more independently, you know, or, you know, meaning like learn how to pay bills, like give your parents bill money. Ask them, you know, how much is such and such, you know, ask them to see the bill so you know how much stuff is. I remember one time I asked a group of kids at the Boys and Girls Club if they knew how much the power bill was, how much it paid, you know, how much it cost to pay for the electricity bill. One of them said $2,000. I looked at them like they was crazy. I was like, you mean rent? They was like, no, rent probably like $3,000-5,000. I was like, Jesus Christ, these kids don't even know. So yeah, don't be ashamed. Ask them. Sometimes you need to know what all your parent has to pay for just so you can live. You probably have way more appreciation if you knew all the bills that your parents had to pay and how much money they have to shell out. You'd probably be more appreciative of the food that they bring into the house, of every time they had to come and pick you up from practice or from your friend's house, or, you know, every time you asked them for something and they had to find a way to get it for you. Like, you know, if you wanted the latest shoes, or you want an outfit, or you know, you want something you saw off of TikTok or Amazon, and they just made a way. You know, they made your Christmas special, they made your birthday special. You'd be surprised. And then we're just talking about bills alone. Go and ask your parents if you can see how much the bills cost. It'll change your life. It'll make you have more appreciation for what real life throws at you. Learn how to manage the schedule, you know, before you move out. Learn how to manage the schedule and set priorities without people having to tell you. How many of y'all done missed the bus or missed school because your parents tried their best to get you up out the bed and you wouldn't get up, or they had to go to work before you got up and you had to get yourself up? Yeah. Learn how to set priorities for yourself and stick to them. You want to be an adult? This is what it costs to be an adult. Lastly, think about what kind of living situation you want after graduation. It used to be easy. When I graduated, it was easy. As long as you had money, as long as you had some money, and they did that background check came back good, you can move in. Nowadays, it's hard. It's expensive just to get a 1-bedroom. You know, you might have to try to find a roommate. You might have to find a boarding house. You might have to, you know, you might even do an Airbnb, you know, just keep paying for it or whatever. But it's hard. You'll learn real quick how hard it is to live in this world nowadays. It's just not easy. You can't just go out there and get an apartment, but you need to understand what it takes to get one. So the last thing I'm gonna talk about, and then I'm gonna let y'all go, read books. You want to educate yourself, read, you know, or if you're just an online person, get you an audiobook, you know. Listen to podcasts about money, success, mental health, and life skills. If you don't want to hear it from nobody, around you, find you a podcast, YouTube it, whatever you need to do. For you guys, young men out there, I want a book that you can read is Rich Dad Poor Dad. For women, for young ladies and young boys, another book is Atomic Habits. Another book is Defining Decade. And for young adults, there's a book called and I had to look these up because these are very interesting books. Because they ain't had this when I was growing up. But for young adults, read this book called I Will Teach You to Be Rich. It's called I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Very insightful, for all you young entrepreneurs out there that think that this money comes easy. The more money you get, the harder it is to keep it. But, that was just 10 things. You're probably gonna have to rewind this and go back and listen to some of this stuff, but I tried to be as insightful as possible. If you're a parent listening to this, let your child watch it. Hopefully I didn't cuss. I don't think I cussed. But this is very insightful. Try to sit down and have a conversation. They're probably not gonna want to listen to you, but they need to, because they need to understand that when life comes at you quick and you have to be prepared for it, it's not going to pamper you. It's not going to, enable you. It's not going to give you your way. You're just going to have to learn to adapt and adjust to real life. But that's just my unsolicited advice. Take it or leave it. I'll talk to y'all later.